Good morning. Just thought I'd pop on here today and share a few book recommendations. This is a question I get a lot as far as reading material that people are looking for different topics. This is not an all-inclusive list. This is just a few that, as I'm looking through my bookshelf, are ones that I find myself recommending to people a lot. If you're looking for books on a certain topic, let me know and I can share those with you as well. And maybe I'll pop on here every so often and share a few more. But today I kind of have 5. It's kind of more like 7, and I'll explain that in a minute. But kind of 5 books that I find myself recommending a lot. The first one, I'm just going to go through, and then I will write a blog post with more details and maybe some links to where you can find them. But I thought I'd just share them with you here on live video. The first one is called The Road Back to You. And this is about the Enneagram. And as some of you know, the Enneagram is something that I highly recommend to people who are on a self-awareness journey. So it is a personality typing system, but for me, it goes so much deeper than that. And it's less about this is just the way I am and more of how can I be a better version of myself. So I've read many books on the Enneagram, read lots of online things as well, and this is my top choice. I think it has the best summarizations of each of them, but also just really gets you thinking and lists out ways that you can work on transformation, which is the next step. So again, this is The Road Back to You by Ian Cron and Suzanne Stabile. They also both have podcasts, which is great too. So that would be my first one. The second book that I recommend, I'm sure many of you have probably heard of, and that is the book called Boundaries. I see a lot of clients who come in with relationship struggles, and that's not just married couples that I'm seeing. This is individuals that I'm seeing that are coming in with struggles with their family, with their kids, maybe their grown kids, with their parents. And so Boundaries is a great book. Subtitle, When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life. But it's also all about relationships and about putting boundaries on yourself, your time, and your interactions with other people. So Boundaries by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. These are highly experienced individuals who are sharing great information. So that's the second one. The third one is a book for marriage, and this is The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work by John Gottman. And the Gottman Institute, I've shared some posts of theirs on my page before. They have done the most research on marriage and relationships in general. And so they just offer a wealth of research, and a lot of this is very proven. I work through a lot of these things with my clients. Just to give you a couple things, they talk about love maps, fondness and admiration, turning towards each other, letting your partner influence you, how to solve your solvable problems, overcoming gridlock, so those problems that are not solvable, and creating shared meaning. So those are just a few things in here. Again, it's a great one. And that, again, is The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work by John Gottman. The next one is a classic. This is The 5 Love Languages. This does come from a Christian worldview, and it's how to express communication and love to your partner. And I find so often that couples come in, they have the best intentions, they're doing a great job, but they're just missing each other. And most of that is because they're showing love in the way that they want to show, or in the way that they want to receive love, but that may not be the way that their partner receives it. And so, as you may or may not know, the 5 love languages, again, are quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And in here is the quiz that you can take to find out what yours are, and then the best way to go about showing and receiving that love as well. Another thing is, maybe it's been a few years. My husband and I went through this when we were first married, but things change, and sometimes our love languages change as well. So it can be fun to revisit that. And then coupled with that, not as a separate book, but they also make the 5 love languages for children. I really recommend this for parents, as I went through this year a bit younger. It really opened my eyes to especially one of my children, but knowing the love languages of them is really helpful for me because their two love languages, I have two kids, are my least natural ways for me to show and receive love. And so I have to be super intentional with them. But knowing that information was really helpful. So again, 5 love languages for children and for marriage. And then my last book recommendation is for those who want to understand more about trauma. And so if you are supporting someone in your life who has been through trauma, maybe you have yourself, this would be a great book in helping you understand that. This is called The Body Keeps the Score. This is not a light read. This is definitely more intense. It's pretty thick, and there's a lot of deep information in here, but it really gives a great overview and an in-depth analysis and look at trauma and how it affects the brain and the mind and the body and how to heal from trauma. So this can be really helpful, again, if you're supporting. As a side note, if you have experienced trauma yourself, this book may be triggering for you. So I highly suggest that you think through whether that's an appropriate time in your life to take a look at it. But again, and this would be a great book to get from the library. You may not read every word of it, but as you look through the chapters and seeing what might be helpful for you in your support of someone with trauma. Again, those are the 5, but one extra bonus one, again on trauma, is called Childhood Disrupted. And this talks about the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, which is a huge study that was done on the effects, again, of childhood adversity and trauma. And again, if you're supporting someone or you yourself have been through that, this can really give you an understanding of the effects of that and how that has left an imprint on you and how you can heal, or again, if you're supporting someone. So, again, 2 books on trauma. Side note, just a note that these may be triggering for you if you have been through trauma yourself. So again, those are my book recommendations for now. I'll come back on another time and share some more. I'll type this up too in a blog post and post that later, maybe today or tomorrow. And let me know if you have any questions. Happy reading.